Strange Winter Occurrence. Bryce Brown, Period 5, Centimeter 6. It's that time of year again to receive gifts from Santa from under your flashing lights, colorful glass balls, and pictures of your family. That's right, it's Christmas. No one has ever seen Santa before, and no one knows if he exists. And if you have seen him and you think you know him, well, but you don't. And you can trust me on that. I have seen Santa, and I have seen the truth behind that white beard. It all started last Christmas when I was 10, and I was excited as I jumped up and down while watching Christmas shows and listening to the very pretty carols the men and women sang. My whole family was there, Grandma, Grandpa, sister, brother, Mom, and Dad, and we were having so much fun. We had a lovely dinner full of pork roast, beans, potatoes, rice, meatloaf, and to top it off, some chocolate pie. We were all laughing and talking and having a good time. Like any other Christmas, it seemed like everything was going right. It was kind of gloomy night that night. There was a lot of cloud cover and it looked like it was either going to rain or snow. I went to bed shortly after I made some cookies for Santa and set out his milk on a very fancy tray that we only use for Christmas. I walked upstairs, took a shower, and brushed my teeth. Then I said goodnight to everyone, but before I went up the stairs I glanced back at my mother one last time, and she had a pretty smile, a warm smile. Then I headed up the stairs. I fell asleep in like 5 minutes, excited about tomorrow when I see all the pretty, neatly wrapped gifts, the little bow boxes under our tree. I woke up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, and I heard some rustling downstairs, so after I used the bathroom, I went to go see what it was. There's this big, fat, hairy man downstairs putting presents under our tree. I was excited, and I called his name out. Santa! I say nervously, glancing round as I walked down the stairs slowly. The big man jumped at the noise of his name and turned around. He had red clothes from head to toe and a big white beard. What seemed weird about him, though, is that he had a big nasty grin on and he didn't look friendly. Yes, little boy, Santa replies and laughs lightly while he glances at me. What do you need? Is it really you? I ask and smile a big warm smile. Yes, it is. It is me, your very best Santa. And if you don't believe me, why don't you come and take a look into my bag? He gives me a big, evil grin. It sends shivers down my spine, but I decided to take up his offer and not be rude. I walk over to him slowly and cautiously, watching him with every step I take. Is this dude really Santa, I think, as I walk over to his bag. As I glance inside, I see something weird. It looks like a lot of little boys and girls, but why are they in there? Then with one swift movement, he shoves me in the bag, and before I can scream, he shuts the bag and all of my hopes of escaping disappeared. Adrenaline ran through my body as I kicked and screamed against the bag. One of the boys looks up at me and whispers, "It's no use, we are stuck here." He pauses. Kid. I look back at him, and he has tan skin, short black hair, and he looks about 13. I wonder how he got here. Well, how do you know that? I stuttered. I shake slightly while beads of water slide down my back and send chills up my spine. He looks up at me and shakes his head and looks down. I force a smile, hoping to build up our confidence, but mainly mine. And I sit down slowly. My eyelids feel like 10-pound bars yanking them down my eyes. After a while, I get taken in my dream world. I wake up to what feels like hours later to me in some sort of prison area. I stand up and look around, still in a haze. I see boys everywhere in cages like mine. I rub my eyes and look one more time because I can't believe it. The walls around us are gray and gloomy, and there is no lights anywhere. Some of the boys are crying, and some are in anger, throwing things and screaming. But there are two boys that catch my attention. They seem to be hugging each other and saying, "It's okay, don't worry." I assume they are brothers. I look in my own cell and see that it's just a desert over here. I am all alone. Then that's when I begin to break down and cry. I sink to the floor and hug my knees into my chest, and as I feel a cold wet tear run down my face and splatter on the floor. Tears keep coming, and before I know it, my shirt is soaked with tears. Some other kid comes to my prison cell and unlocks it. Why does he get to be out? He throws a pair of gray clothes at me. "Put this on," he yells forcefully. "Right now," I ask. I've never changed in front of anyone. He stands there with no response and waits. And I guess he does want me to put this on right now. So I slide my shirt off while blushing. Why is he staring at me? After that, I slide my night pants off and the new shorts on quickly. Okay, now follow me, he says and starts to walk off. I follow him as he leads me into the door, looks at me, and motions me inside. Inside, there are bright colors everywhere, and there is also one window. Everybody seems to be working with a blank face, but they are not elves. They are kids, boys and girls of all ages. There are 4 guards at every corner and 2 armed ones at the door. Why are these kids working for him? He continues to walk down a big hallway into another door and leads me inside. What first hit me is the smell. It smells like chocolate with a hint of rainy day smell. And the room is all red. There is Santa sitting at the desk in front of me with that same big smile on his face from before. Well, hi there, John, he says and glances at me like from before. Welcome to the rest of your life, he starts to laugh hard. What is this place, I dare to ask, and I look at him fiercely. Do you think that I did all this work with some magic elves that don't even exist? If so, then you are wrong. I've captured naughty, curious kids like you and used them to do all the work, and I take all the credit. He smiles big. Look, see, we have to let me go back, because I need to watch out for my little sister and make sure she stays safe, I beg, and get down on my knees. Please, sir, just let me go back. He looks me into the eyes. Take him away, he can start working today. And he smiles big. I look up at him surprised and scared, while the guards drag me away to my workstation. They forcefully put me down into a chair and look at me as if daring me to try and run. After a second, they turn around and leave. I look over to my left and see the boy I saw in the bag with me, and I know we will be good friends. Hi, I'm John, I say and smile. What is your name? He looks at me. Brandon, he says quietly, and looks back down at his work. I look down at my workstation and see a hammer, some glue, and a lot of wood. And there is instruction on how to build a birdhouse. My workstation is red as well. Man, I hate that color. I close my eyes, and just for a second, I see my family portrait of my dad, sister, brother, and mom. Wow, my mom has that same big, warm, sweet smile as she did the last night. That was just one night ago, yet it feels like a century. Then I realize that I have to do whatever I can to get out of here. 10 months I have been stuck here. In 10 months I have had time to memorize every nook and cranny in this place. I think I have found the way out with my good friend Brandon, and we have decided to break out tomorrow evening when everyone is asleep. I have done nothing but eat a lot of candy and build toys with other kids, and they don't treat us nicely. If we don't do it right, they put us out in a cell that's outside, and we have to stay the night out there. They call it the freezer, because out there you pretty much freeze. I have been missing my family for 10 months now, and I wonder how big my little sister has gotten and how much I have missed. Do they actually miss me? I stay up watching everyone sleep, or do whatever they do, and eventually Brandon looks at me from across the hall and gives me the signal to take off the bars. For 5 months we have planned this little by little, and we would chisel off the bars just a little bit every night with knives from the lunchroom. Once I got them off, I turned back to look at Brandon to see if he had gotten out all right, and he has. Next we ran down the hallways to the main room. We enter when the guards cycle position. Whenever we get there, we notice the guards began to walk off, and we start to sneak to the only window in the room. We have to break the window and run to Santa's sled to ride back home. Once we get to the window, I look at him one last time and he smiles at me. But this time, it's a real smile. A smile of relief, and he points to the window. I break the window and the alarm goes off. As I crawl through the window, cutting myself just a little, I turn back to help Brandon out, but he looks up at me and mouths run. As I start to turn around, I see his blank face, and it looks so lifeless. Then he gets dragged back through the window. What happened to him? I turn around and start to sprint to the shed where the sleigh is located. Everything is white and black, and for some reason it rushes happiness through my body. But I think I'm just glad there's no more red. I reach the sled house and open the doors up to find the big sled. And the sled is big and red with no reindeers. I climb up into it and look at all the controls, and there is a map on there. So I type in my address into the keypad, and the sled starts to lift up. I smile. I'm finally free, I think, and start to laugh. And there is a funny feeling in my stomach as the sled rises up and up. I laugh and keep laughing as the sled lurches forward and I'm going home. And the feeling of flying is amazing. I can see everything from here along with all the sleeping people in their houses. About 3 hours later in the early morning when the sky is pink and kinda hazy, the sled starts to lower and stop here. I am back to where I started. Unbelievable. I drag myself forward while my eyes start to tear up. I knock on the door and that's when my mother answers. She screams my name. John, where have you been for the past 10 months? She starts to cry, barely getting that out. Well, you see, Mom, that's a long story, I say as I start to walk up to her to give her a big hug, crying too, but this time it's tears of joy. Theme: don't mess with anyone you don't really know, or you could get in a lot of trouble.